lovely little pony, a real lovely pony, seriously. The thing is with him, we've had to do, he's one of them that's gone on another week. The only reason he's gone on another week is, and I missed this the first, I didn't see it quick enough. I should have been more on the ball really. I don't know why I missed it. I've got no excuse. I'm not making any excuse blaming the horse or anything. But when I look back, there was a couple of indications that I should have picked up on and I didn't. And so what you have to do with this particular pony is go back a step or two. So if we don't do them, there is no sequence of how we do what we do. So we'll just pretend there is for a minute. So we put the harness on, we basically take them outside with the harness on, etc. We get them to stand, we get them to just see how they are, see how they accept the harness, how they move in it, whether they're happy as or anything. And that's just experience. You look at their body language and you can hopefully, not always, and certainly not in this case, but read them like a book. So he's taken everything in his stride. The problem is, he's one of them that, so I'll tell you what he's like. If you left him to his own devices, he's like a child with a colouring book. So instead of finishing that picture, he'd get fed up with that and move on to the next thing. What he needed to do is to finish the first picture and go right to the edges and colour it in completely so it's a finished job. So he don't do that. So he belies. He looks like, well, he's got that nicely, we're going on lovely, and then something will happen, a minor thing, and you say, why have you reacted like that? I can't understand why you've reacted like that, because you shouldn't react like that considering what I've seen you be able to cope with. Why have you reacted like that? So that's what it is. So what you have to do is go, once you've taught him something, so let's just say we teach him like this, like holding this going back downhill, right? So see, I'll take my foot off the walk, and he'll hold that on his britching, and he'll do anything I want him to do. Now, so you think, well, that's lovely, beautiful. It's not. I'm just using this as an example. Now, you might be on a little bit more of a hill, yeah? The road might be a little bit slippery. For shod horses, you know, a little bit slippery, and he just hasn't quite got it. So although he'll do it for you, he's not getting himself set up. I've got this weight coming on my quarters, here's the hill, we're going to go down, and I better be ready, yeah? So he hasn't been thoroughly trained. That's my fault, not his, and I should have seen that. And which is, you know, you could say, well, but it's a case of, you know, no one gets it right all the time, do they? And it's just very minor things, and it took like about the third week. So I then had to go back and take a few steps back. Didn't have to go right to the start of what we've done with this particular horse, no. But we did have to go back and get some idea of what he'd missed out on. And you know, when we come back through, Reece said to me, I never would have believed it. And there was 5 or 6 things that he'd be perfectly fine. He looked like he was 1,000,000% with, yeah, in the training, and then you find, no, you're not quite, you know, you're not quite there. So, and lots of silly little things really. So, a noise behind him. Now, we obviously take care of that and to do the best we possibly can to show them everything that they might encounter in their life, yeah? And we do genuinely set out to do that. And I know people say, so like this here, so I'm not holding him, did I? I didn't pull him back, I didn't do anything like that, but he tightened a little bit, didn't he? Harley Davidson, I should think, I don't know what they call them, but them are big American things, you know, I think it's called that. And he's just listening to that sounds a bit different. You get another motorbike come up here, no, a real fast one, going fast, leant right over, coming round this bend there, he wouldn't bother. But that one sounded a little bit different. So those are the type of things I mean, all sorts of things. Stand at a junction, he'd stand at a junction, yeah, but he hadn't learned to wait for a command. That was another thing. He never done anything wrong, it wasn't any problem at all. It's not his fault, it's mine. But I thought, I stood him at a couple of junctions, he was absolutely mint perfect, you know. When we come to the first junction, just asked him to stand, and he immediately put his leg at rest. Well, what a lovely thing to do. You think, oh, you know, that's perfect. So the groundwork in the yard work we've done with him has obviously paid off, and he was mint perfect. I come down to a junction like that, so he's not put his leg at rest, he's looked, I mean, it just takes some believing, but he's looked up the road, see if anything's coming, and decided he's going to walk out. Well, it's no good, is it? I mean, it's lovely. We thought, what are we standing here for then? But as I say to you, horse is the motive power. Unfortunately, that's all we can allow them to be. If they make decisions which would get you killed and them killed and anybody else involved quite easily. So yeah, and I've just tied his tail up today. He's had it long down his, you know, that was for another reason, but the reason I've tied this up today, I just want to see how he is behind, you know, because he's grown since he's been here. He's obviously muscled a tremendous amount, and I want to say to the people, because he'll be going home next weekend, and I want to say to the people, okay, in my opinion, and only my opinion, I can't tell a farrier how to do his job, but the shoes that are coming off him are the same ones that want to go back on. Not, I don't mean the same shoes, but the same weight of shoe, the same shape of shoe, like that. The only thing I think this little fella's going to need, right, but you can't tell a farrier how to do the job. That's his job. My job is to train him. But I would just roll his toe a little bit. So what I mean by that, where the shoe's flat, I'd just take it up a tiny little bit, so that when his foot's directly on a flat surface, you could maybe put nearly put a pencil underneath the front. Why do I say that? This little fella will have quite a step in him later on, I think. You know, he'll lift his knees up, and what he tends to do is to come down maybe a little bit sharp on his toe sometimes. So I think just by having that there, and also when he goes away, so if you look at the wear on the shoe, that would, you know, a farrier, I can't tell him what to do. I can only say, just suggest that maybe the farrier might want to look at that. I would never tell anyone how to do their job, no good. I'd never tell anybody how to break horse. Any of these things I tell you. Breaking horse is a stupid word really, and it's gentling them or getting them to do what you want them to do and be happy, safe, confident and happy. I mean, these poor little things, we take them out of the wild state, we domesticate them, we get them to do this. We got the cheek to climb on their back, kick them in the ribs or the belly, and ride them and do everything, and they do everything so willingly really. And I mean, this must be so alien to a horse really, to have this four-wheel cart, or two-wheel cart, whatever, set of harness on it, bit in its mouth. So you've got to do it as nice as you possibly can. And see my little fella standing there, he's perfectly happy, isn't he? You know, he can hear my voice, he's, you know, just having a look round. Oh, there's a motor coming here. I often wonder what they're thinking. Oh, look, you think someone has got a carrot. So he's had a good look at this one for some reason, don't know why. He ain't going to do anything. He's put one ear back to me. Did you see that? Just watch that film again, wind it back a bit. That was lovely. He put one ear back to me. He was saying, Dad, have a look at this. What that could have been, I don't know. I'd have to look at the film myself, but I think that lady was wearing sunglasses. And you're going to say, oh, shut up. It's true. Take it from me. You get someone, like a lady the other day, come past and just had her children in the back, and she had her window down and she poked her head outside. Oh, that's a lovely pony. Well, it must have looked like a giant panda, mustn't it? Do you know what I mean? Entirely different to a normal human face. So it all jumped, you know. What's this? And that type of thing is all them sort of things that you learn over the years. So I would say that it's like when you come up against a convertible. There's a convertible, horse looks at it and he goes, what's happened? You know, what is it? You know, he can't figure it out. Every other one's had a, you know, a lid over the top. So why is it like that? And you see him standing here now, just lovely. I love this little pony. I really do think I love them all. But he's a character. He's funny. He would do trialing, you know, indoor circuit. He would fly it. He would seriously fly it and love to do it. And if you give him something to, like what I'm going to suggest to the people that own him, he needs a toy or two. Certainly for the next 6 months, a year maybe. And he might want it the rest of his life. And what's wrong with that? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Just men grow up and, you know, boys grow up and become men. And they still have toys, don't they? You know, like motor cars they like, or making things or whatever. You know, they're all toys. Well, he's like his little brain. If you give him anything at all, it don't matter. You could give him, I don't know, let's say, one is a lovely thing to do is to hang in the frame of the door. The stable is an apple on a string. Oh, it's just funny to watch him, and he carefully gets hold of, you know, and that type of thing. And he likes that. You know, he's happy, and he's, you know, his ears are pricked. He looks at you and calls to you when you come through the door. You know, a bottle hanging up with stones, all sorts of stuff, you know, we might have around. We have it already made up, and if we think horse needs that, and it helps them settle sometimes, and that type of thing. But it's a real nice pony. He's a lovely boy. So see that here, come back to me, look. Right, the right hand side here just comes back first, just double check. Yeah. But certainly got no real concern. Just have a look. But he always checks with me that everything's all right. Everything all right here, Dad? You've seen this one? And I'd love something to come along a bit funny, a bit different. But he'll always put maybe both ears back to pick up any information I might be telling him. Like, steady, mate, it's all right. I don't need to do that with my horses once they're at this stage of training. You know, their own confidence will let them stand there. And that's a big subject. I'll do a film on it one day. A lot of people ask me what I mean. But you can learn so much of their body language if only we would listen. And don't take it for gospel. And you know, it's not the same with every horse. It's like, you know, it's just so different with every horse. So he's having a scratch now, like that. And then he'll have a look at this one coming down. Just watch him now. So this one might have no fascination. So the other thing, see on the windshield, like on the front of the motor, that's got reflections. Well, sometimes it's got the sun on it, yeah? And therefore, you know, the sun's right in his face and it's blinding him, and he's saying to me, "You seen this? Is this all right? Am I okay here?" He don't do it so much now. Before he would have had his ear on me, one ear on me constantly all the time. Now he'll prick them both forward, as most of them do, you know. But he's a lovely little pony. And what we're going to do now, we're going to, you know, put some. Oh yeah, here's a nice one. Couple of motorbikes, yeah. See them lads, nice as anything. See, 2-year-olds come back. Say, you see that, Dad? You know. There's 2 of them coming, you know, just like that. Now, what a lot of people would do, and I'm not saying you're wrong, do whatever way you want to do it, but his confidence has grown. If I went to his head because 2 motorbikes was coming down the road, I am telling him there's a massive problem here. That's why I've come to stand with you, because you're not going to be able to cope. They'll cope with anything if the training is done properly. You know, and it's got to be like I've just said, I've got it wrong with this one. You know, I had to go back and do it again. It's made it a little bit later. I think he would have been a little bit late anyway. I think he was a little bit late anyway, you know. But, and all, because the other thing is with him, which I didn't say, you have to let him take in, like soak it up, like you've got to do it like, he's got to digest what he's learnt. And I think that was part of, I could do that, I've done that, what's next, you know? And I should have said to him, no, just sleep on that tonight, I digest, we'll just do it first thing in the morning, make sure you're right when we go out, and then I know you've got it. Yeah, so that's basically it with this one. See, this pony is a very good pony. This pony's one of them exceptions, in my opinion. It could do the trialling, although it's, you know, heavy pony. It could do the trialling. It's very, very nimble. Come around, babe. Come on. Go on, babe. Up. Canter. Canter. Right, if I just asked him to stop, look. Whoa. And he's standing there as quiet as a lamb in a field. Now, most ponies, remember, this pony's been in, he hasn't been out to grass at all, he hasn't been on grass, because when they're in with us, we don't allow them to go to grass. Now, people say, oh, surely you got, no. The only way we know of what they've taken in and what they've passed through them, how much water they've had, how much water has passed through them, is by having them inside. Because obviously, if you went in the morning and there was no stale there, no poo there, in other words, you'd go, hang on a minute, what's wrong? You'd never know the field until you got a massive problem. So we know everything they're doing. We can control the food that goes in them. So if we need them to have a bit more energy, we can put some more stuff in. They're all on short food. Every single horse here is on short grub, and obviously haylage ad lib, and we only have the best quality haylage. But this pony is just a lovely, lovely, lovely pony. If I wanted one, if I had children, this is the pony I would have, because he's 100% in all respects, and yet he still retains that spark to get on and do. So you can drive him like this, for instance. Walk, baby, just walk. Go away as quiet as a lamb. And if you asked him to come up, he would be up there in a second, you know, at the camp. Hey, can't up! And all this rattling and shaking behind him and noise it's making, and you can stop him. And I know I keep saying it, people, when you've got a cantilever bit in a horse's mouth, you've got a rough side, a smooth side of the bit. Then you've got the shanks on the side to perform the cantilever, so you apply with the curb chain behind his chin pressure, and you apply pressure on the bars. Now, people say it's pressure and release, but please believe me, it's pain. I'll say that again, pain and release. With a rubber bit, it's virtually impossible to. I've had lots of nonsense talked about rubber bits. Oh, it dries their mouth out. How does it do that then? Please explain it. You can't make a statement unless you can, you know, back it up. So all the horses we drive are only in soft rubber bits. People say, if you look at this one now, he'd be soapy in his mouth, what we call soap. He's like a little washing machine. And the bit, because it's so soft, arches itself, yeah, and it will suit that particular horse's mouth. So this is a funny old bridge here. It's a, you know, a passenger bridge, a walkway. And when people go over there, horses are quite quite surprised, quite shocked to see it. Come on, good boy. Rattly old trailer there, just gone down. Go on, babe, up you go. Come over, come over. Big old truck coming by there. Nice. Go on, babe. Big old truck and Archie. Oh no, Bridget going up. Come on, babe. There's a good boy. So there's a lot of people that wouldn't bring their horses up here, and I can understand that, I'm not saying, but for me to train them so they'll cope with any traffic, you need to bring them where the traffic is. And you need, obviously, you take your time and pick your moment, and you learn over, I mean, I've been doing this all my life, really all my life. I've had to do other jobs to make ends meet, but basically I've done this all my life. And therefore, obviously if you're interested in it, you learn, don't you? You know, you can... Come up, my baby. when I'm talking to, you know, on these films, you have to understand me. You know, my main job is to get it right with the horses. There's a lovely truck there just going by, plenty of rattle on there, and my pony don't take any notice at all. And if you say, well, he's an exceptional pony, no, he's the same as all the others. If you look at all the films, there's 700,000-800,000 films, I think, on YouTube. There's a lot of films anyway. And they're all doing the job, and they all come up here. It's a lovely one there, making a bumping noise. But you see, all he's got in his mouth is a soft rubber bit. And that was a big old noise there, you see, smashed right down. There's a bit of a dip in the road there. And where he's got just one container on, the bars that hold the other container, they can take two, rattle. So these great big trucks are no problem to him at all. But it's how you train him. He's got confidence in himself. You know, that's what it is basically, is building their confidence. I mean, obviously as a driver you need to have the confidence, but you know, in yourself and your ability. And if we're going to share the public highway with everybody, then we've got to blend in. Obviously we can't go as fast as a lorry or a motor car, so you've got to blend in. And we do not own the road just because we got a horse. That's people say, oh, this car was rude, them people were rude, they come too close to me, etc, etc. Well, if the horse is trained right, he'll happily accept that you're coming come on, up. He's got to come over behind these now. I have to watch what I'm doing, concentrate. So he's coming round here now, lovely. Good boy, yes you are, you rascal. My little sugar plum, come on, up you go. A great big noise behind him, with two great big lorries going up. He's got a thundering noise behind him, but he's going fine. So you can see here, this old bridge. If people walk across there, the horses are so surprised. I mean, some of them don't like going underneath it. Although it's not a great big tunnel, is it? It's just a little bridge, not very wide, but they don't like going underneath it, you know, and you have to get them used to it and just. But I wouldn't tell anybody how to break a horse. There's thousands of horses out there. I never broke them, and they're doing perfectly well without my help. But I like to do them, I suppose it's the old-fashioned way, I don't know. Whether it's old-fashioned, it's the only way I know, is to make them safe, confident and happy. And people say, well, I would never go on a road like that. But that just wants looking at that statement, when you say you'd never go on a road like that. The problem is with that, is I was out, I don't know, some time ago now, and there was a diversion put in due to a bad accident on a small country lane, and there was so they diverted us onto the dual carriageway. And when I come up to the dual carriageway, because I couldn't turn round, you couldn't unharness your horses, it was only a narrow lane coming up onto the dual carriageway. So we had to come up there. Now, I didn't concern me at all, because I knew my horses would do it and cope with it well. But the policeman was there. He said, you sure you're all right going up here? I said, no, they'll be fine, you know. And then he said, oh, yeah, I'll see you around, yeah. So, you know, then he realised who we were, and he just said, OK, yeah, no problem. So we come up the dual carriageway, and they were doing, like, Like that's a big noisy thing, that rattling going down there. But there's no reaction from him. Because he's confident, he's happy doing what he's doing. You know, and if he's confident and he's happy, he'll be safe. All three go together, you can't have one without the other. He'll never be safe unless he's confident. You know, he'll never be happy if he don't feel safe, will he? So, all three go together, you need all them elements.